Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. A little update from Syria, the Middle East, Israel, and all the good people. Um, while you watch this video, I would like you to look at this through this lens, this perspective. Okay, you can look through whatever lens you want or no lens, but I want you to look at this development that I will describe or I will talk about in this video through the lens of the politicians. That is, we create a problem and then we are the ones that are going to solve it, but not entirely. Because if we solve it entirely, then we will not be needed. So look through this perspective. Garbage is created in the Middle East, in this case Syria, by certain forces, and guess who is asked to come and help and fix things? The same forces. It's not hard to figure out who I'm talking about, because I will enumerate some titles here, some headlines, and I'm going to discuss about 4 articles. Let's start with the first one. According to the Telegraph, December 14th, 2024, Druze in Syria, and I'm quoting, fear new ISIS-like leaders and want Israeli rule. This is idiotic. First, Israel will not get foreigners in their Jewish state. You're going to be a little, not even the Romans had their provinces, because the provinces had, citizenship. But you're not going to be the Rome. No, you're not going to be Rome. It's going to be just something over there that we are going to control. You're not going to be Israel. No, you're going to be our guys, like Lebensstrom. Remember that Lebensstrom in the Second World War? The Germans wanted living space. They didn't want to incorporate the other countries, the other nations as equal. They wanted to have the Slavs as working for them. They wanted the Jews, but they wanted the Slavs to be over there. They didn't want to push them out, but they would never be Germans. That's how it was. The Slavs were considered by the evil Nazis as, half this and half that. Not only the blacks in America, okay? So, nevertheless, bad as it was. So, the Jews want the Israeli rule. Why not no rule? Why not no rule at all? How about you rule yourselves? Why do you need to be someone else's bitch? Well, this is the first one. I mean, it's unbelievable. Is because of whom exactly? They want the rule of the Israelis because of the newcomers, and the newcomers are promoted by whom? All right, they're just breaking and Syria, and they take over. Guarantee you that. I mean, it's already there. Now let's see this thing from Russia Today. U.S. in direct contact with jihadists in Damascus. Blinken. Well, they have been in contact with these guys, because I don't want to go further in Here is first. How do you think I personally have big problems, not big problems. I will tell you why I think it's possible for a group to overthrow a military of a country that is supported by another big military, which is Russia. This is done either by an understanding, by a coup, internal coup, by the military of Syria saying, you know what, we're not going to support you, Assad, anymore. You got to go. Or the other ones, the forces, the jihadists, rebels, however you want to call them, are very, very well armed and financed. And the question is, by whom? Do you think it's Romania financing them? Do you think it's Bangladesh financing them? Honduras? No, it's one country. Who's that? The ones who are applauding this. Blinken is in contact, direct contact. I think they have been in contact since 2011. But they just, added different groups. Well, that's the way it is. And these guys want Israeli to rule. Now, let's see what the Kurds want. Kurdish forces call for international support amid rising ISIS threat in Syria. Hey, Kurds, your friends are the Americans. With these guys right here, and with these guys right here, all right? They are destabilizing the whole region. I'm sorry, taking under control, right? Because he was destabilized by evil Assad. Which he has his own things. I'm not here to defend anyone. They have balls to defend themselves. And if they don't, they should perish. Because, Anyway, so here you have Kurdish forces call for international support. Let's see what kind of international support. I suspect it's going to be the Americans. So the guys in the south, the Druze, want the Israeli support. The guys in the Kurdish forces want what they had before, which is the Americans. Regardless what reasons they give you, all right? I want the nuclear weapons because the birds are too many in my neighborhood. I can give you whatever reason I want. So again, they want to legitimize, all these groups legitimize the presence, finally, of the American troops who were present in Syria illegitimately, illegally, right? Since what? A long time ago, fighting terrorism and so on. So let's see what kind of international support these guys need. The Turkish Autonomous Administration calls on the international community, what's that? Romania, is Romania part of the international community? To provide support to the Kurdish armed groups in connection with the activation of the Islamic State in Syria. Who did that? Who activated it? A spokesperson for the US-backed Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces in the northeastern Syria and Lebanon told. You got it? So the Kurds in the north, they want the support of the Americans, whatever, they legitimize their presence, because another group that ousted Assad, that is also backed by, and the Druze in the south, they want the Israelis who also backed it's so imbecilic. And let me show you what the current, the current leadership of Syria asks for. Again, with Russia today, Syria asks for help against Israeli aggression. This is a game. So, who's that? The HTS leader calls on the international community as Israel continues its operations in Syria. This is a game. The new Syrian authorities are calling on the international community to intervene and help it stop Israeli airstrikes. That's going to be Americans. The head of Papapap said, in an interview on Saturday on the Istanbul-based Syria TV channel, Ahmad al-Sara, who is better known by his nom de guerre, spoke about Israel for the first time since taking over the country. Militant groups led by Papapa launched an offensive against Syrian troops with the help of whom the fuck? Who gives them the money? Who transfers the weapons? You should know who transfers the weapons. The Russians know, the Americans know, the guys that watch it, they know who armed these guys, and it was not Bangladesh or Romania. And now it's a game. It's a game. This is what's going to happen. It's going to happen this. The Americans will come in to protect everybody, as they always do. They bring democracy and freedom without being asked. But hey, this time they will be asked by a reformed ISIS guy. Never charged, never convicted of anything, but he was an ISIS guy for some years, but it's reformed. It's like you have a reformed rapist, but never been charged with anything or convicted. And now he's reformed. Okay? And the West is okay with that. Why? Because Blinken is in contact with them. The countries that fucked up that region, now they're going to save the region. Remember what I said at the beginning of this video. People create problems so they can be called by the guys over there to come and solve the problem. The same in Ukraine. Ukraine is just ask for the Americans, for the free world to help them against the Russians. The problem was created not by those guys that now they're the saviors. They put their capes and, ooh, we're coming over, Red Rover. No, it's by the Russians. All right. This is my take on this. These are the glasses, all right, through which I'm looking at this one. You create the problem and somehow you are the savior. Okay. It's like you have the fox being around the chicken coop or whatever we call that, and the chickens are like, help, fox, help us. Oh, I'm coming over. Just open the door and let me in. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.